Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I know it's been way too long since we've uploaded. Um, my thought of having this channel was that we were going to be able to go and experience a lot of different things here in Vegas or just around the world and really share it with you guys. And that's still the true intention of having this channel and our Instagram account. I even have a website that I will try to get linked below in the description box for you. Um, I just haven't been putting in a lot of work on any of that. And there's multiple reasons why. Personal issues, medical issues. I have a puppy who demands a lot of attention. She's asleep right now. Let me see if I can show you. Look at her. Hi, Mama. Hey. Hi, Nugget. Her name is Kai. You may have seen her if you're friends with us on Facebook on our personal pages or our Instagrams. She has her own Instagram, and I'll link that down below too. Her name is Kai. She is a cream colored Shiba Inu, so she is the rare color of the breed. Typically, you would either see black and tan or red sesame most of the time. Black and tan, obviously, black and tan. Red sesame is kind of like more of a, it depends. Like some coats are really red, a reddish color, and others are like a honey color. But she's a cream colored Shiba, so she looks white or cream in appearance, and we got really lucky with her not only being that color, but she has a lot of peach in her fur. So I don't know if you can tell, but her ears have a lot of peach in them, and her legs and her back a lot has a lot of peach all throughout, and her fur's still growing back on her belly because she got fixed in August. Huh, honeys? Oh, honey. And she's my little love. So we will definitely do videos about raising a Shiba because it is a little bit different, I feel, than having most dogs because they are very, very independent breeds. And there are some stereotypes she fits in others that we've been able to really kind of navigate around with consistent training, and eventually she will be my my disabled or like my service dog partner. Will be a team, and she will be trained for diabetic response. So we are finishing up her, I'll just do a different video about it. So anyway, I wanted to come on and just kind of give you guys an update of a few things that I've kind of encountered while living here in Vegas. And again, I'm sorry for the lapse of time between our last video and this video. So I guess where I'll start is, I mean, I may have covered some of this in another video and I just can't remember, but I'm just gonna say what comes to my mind and make sure that I know in my mind that I've said something. So and sorry for the weird light. It's daylight outside, of course. Kind of gray because we're expecting rain and potential storm, but we'll see. But we just don't have really great lighting in the house. We need to get either more lamps or just a ring light or something to film. Or I might invest in a vlog camera and see if the quality's not so gritty. But anyways, because I'm filming this on my MacBook. So I know for sure that I wanted to cover just the cost of like living in general, some key points. If you are considering a move to Vegas, be prepared, as long as you live within a Vegas zip code, to have pretty high insurance rates. Like, even if you're a good driver, it's just other drivers are so bad, and there are so many accidents and so many incidences with car theft. They boost the cost of car insurance out here, and it's not a reflectant of you being a out-of-state driver or a bad driver. It's literally the things that have already occurred out here before you moved here have caused it to be that way. So when we first moved out here, our insurance, once we switched over because our previous carrier didn't cover Nevada, almost $600 a month, almost double what I was paying for 2 cars back home. So that was a shock and a struggle. And the other thing is that I had heard or watched videos with rumors of your car registration being higher depending on how new your car is. And that might be true for pretty much all states, but I didn't expect it to be as high as it was. When we first got here and transferred our registration, it cost me pretty much $1,000, if not more, between, there was a couple different fees that you could probably avoid just by going to DMV, but there's a lot of places out here that will do your smog check, register your car, go to the DMV for you. I don't know if they do it physically or like electronically. The place that we found actually did it like physically went for us. So aside from like those service fees and having specialized plates, just our registration being based on the fact that our cars are 2015 or newer. It might be the same all the way around in different areas, but I just know that even if that's the true case, back home, driving a 2017 Honda Accord didn't mean I was paying almost $500 for my registration. It meant that I was paying like $3 something ish once a year, not $5 or more. Michael drives a 2015 Civic, and his was almost as much as mine, which is like, I was like, you might as well just be driving a newer car. So those rates are a lot higher. Insurance was a lot higher, only because Nevada drivers seem to not be good at driving. We've seen so many accidents since we've moved here. It kind of makes me nervous to be on the road a lot of the time because people just really don't care, cutting people off, speeding, worse than back home. I would honestly trade sometimes Nevada driving, or at least what I've seen of Nevada drivers, to go sit in traffic at home in the Bay Area. That's how bad it is. Excuse me. What else? Gosh, I'm so tired, you guys. I'm so sorry. I spent the night in the ER for the most part. I started at an urgent care because I needed blood work done. Urgent care couldn't assist me, so they sent me to an ER. And so I was not home asleep in my own bed until 7 a.m. And so I'm exhausted. I did not go to work today, so pray that I have a job tomorrow, because that is another caveat is here, and I know a lot of employers all around the country are starting to go this direction, but especially here, doctor's notes do not help you have excused absence or medical excuse from work. They could potentially care less about that and don't even care about doctor's notes. My last employer in California is in that direction already, but for the most part, anywhere else they want a doctor's note to show like you've gone to the doctor has told you like it is a good idea for you to stay home and rest. So at least they know you're not literally trying to avoid work and use medical excuses as the reason, but that you've legitimately had an issue. Here, it doesn't necessarily matter too much. So that's been kind of rough for me because I have pre-existing conditions. I'm a type 2 diabetic with a sleep disorder and some other internal organ situations going on. And because I have pre-existing conditions, there's been a couple times where I have missed work, unfortunately, and I'm just now finishing training. I've been in training for 14 weeks. And so I'm getting to the tail end. And aside from an allergic reaction to a leave, which I didn't know I had while I was at work, I have missed a couple of days because of what I'm going through medically. And so I'm just crossing fingers that I have a job tomorrow. If not, maybe I'll just have more time for content. All joking aside. The other thing I definitely learned is, yes, it is cheaper to live here for specific details, or like in lieu of specific details, but it's not generally cheaper around, let me pick my words here. It is not as cheap as people make it out to be. That's what I'm trying to say. Yes, is gas a little bit cheaper here? Yeah, but not compared to like the Midwest or the East Coast, or especially the Midwest. But it's cheaper than California by anywhere from 30 to 60 cents to the gallon. So that does make a difference, especially when you have a 17.2 gallon tank, and it's normally like $50 some to fill up back home. In California, it might save me on average like anywhere from $5 to $7 here a fill up. So that's helpful. Also, we don't have bridge tolls, and we don't really have traffic. Literally everything you want to get to is like 15-20 minutes away, but it feels like a really long 15 to 20 minutes because blocks are long, stoplights make it feel longer. So yes, everything is closer, but it also feels like it's taking forever to get there because you're so used to everything being so close that if you have to go any more than like 5 minutes away from your house, you're like, I don't want to go. Like, I thought that was a joke when someone told us that. But it's true. Like, if you know that you have to drive like 15 to 20 minutes to go somewhere aside from work, you're like, dang, I don't even want to go anymore. So that's kind of a funny thing that has become true, but it's nice to be close to everything and not have bridge tolls. And now I'm here in California is getting toll roads in the Bay Area, in at least the North and the East Bay. South Bay, going towards like Milpitas and San Jose, the Great Mall, like they already started with toll roads before I'd even left that kind of got adapted from Southern California. But it's becoming more prominent closer to the areas that I've lived or I've spent a lot of time in. And so at least here that's not happening anytime soon. And no bridge toll, shorter commutes. I haven't experienced like hardcore traffic yet. Like I've been in situations where there's been a spot of traffic, but it didn't last that long because there's so many exits and stuff that you could just get off and like kind of find a back roads way of going or in-town way of going. So that has been good, but going back to my point about cheaper living, yes, you can get a place to live for under $1,000. Some may not be in the best areas or the best condition or have the best support, but yeah, you can get an apartment or a condo for under $1,000. Truth. But your wage is going to go down. So obviously California has its higher wage because cost of living is very expensive there. And even then, in the areas that I lived in, excuse me, still didn't make enough. Me personally, didn't make enough to live anywhere aside from renting a room, if that. And it's kind of hard to do when you're a couple. But anyway, here you can get an apartment, like I said, under $1,000. May not be in the best situation. Ours is $850 a month. The downside is we live upstairs. I don't do well with living upstairs. It kind of limits me on how much I can get done, like carrying groceries up and down the stairs, laundry up and down the stairs, stuff like that. But the cool thing is that we live a mile from the Strip, and we see a lot of the major players of the Strip from our front porch. So we see Link, the observation wheel. We can see Caesar's Palace, the back end of it. We can see the Wynn, the Encore. Or no. Trump Tower and Encore, Rio, Gold Coast, and the Palms. So we see a lot, and we can get to the Strip in less than 10 minutes if all the lights are green. We're not far from Fashion Show Mall. Not a ton there that I shop at anyway, but it's, it has its stores that are helpful to get to. And we're not far from other outlets. And that's kind of cool. But again, wage much lower here because they assume that cost of living is still lower here. And it's starting to go up. Like, people are moving here from California and other states that are starting to escalate, the cost of living for lower wage. And it's driving demand and inflation here. So cost of living is starting to catch up with what feels like California or maybe some other places kind of in comparison. But I know if I was to live on my own with no help, I would be able to pay my rent and maybe a couple bills, and I don't know how long food and gas will last me, because that's the reality of it. But I guess anywhere we go that has cheaper cost of living is also going to have cheaper wage amounts. So I guess that's a give and take of it. But I will say that I do have my moments that are like, I really do live Vegas. Like, look at everything. It's all lit up. It's, the city of lights, and there's always a show to see, and there's always some quirky activity that you can go enjoy. But of course it comes with a cost. And so everything on Strip is more expensive. Like, you literally can go to like a Denny's or something on the strip, and they're going to charge you anywhere from $5 to $10 more per person than you would going off strip. And a lot of it has to do with like things being carted in, because it's not like there's a ton of farms and vegetation out here. A lot of things have to be brought in, so that adds to it. And plus, it's the hype of the strip. So because it's the strip, they can charge these amounts, and tourists and travelers will pay that, and even locals will pay it because they get to enjoy it. And some places offer local discounts, and some don't. There are some places that still have free parking. I can do a video on that kind of stuff. But for the most part, it hasn't been horrible, but it's been tough for me personally. Like, obviously, it's nothing like home. I'm surrounded by mountains, which are beautiful, but I am a water baby. I love the beach. I love the ocean. I love water. So, being away from, the ability of being able to drive to the beach or living on the coastline, like, that kind of, it stung, and it still stings. And I've heard like there's Lake Las Vegas and stuff like that, or the places in Henderson, but it probably won't compare. And so I need to be more open-minded to enjoying those types of things, but I just haven't been there yet to see if it will, add to like, okay, I can really dig being here for a while. But if you like the mountains, then, or rock formations, this is definitely the place to be. I was very aware that I was moving to the desert. But it didn't set in how much that meant, that statement would mean, until I got here. And the last thing I'd leave off on is like working and healthcare in general. I come from an area where we have Kaiser Permanente, and being able to have Kaiser, whether you agree that they're amazing or they're not, or somewhere in between, just the convenience. Okay. Just the convenience of being able to go see my doctor, who can send me to the laboratory to get my lab work done, and then I can go to an x-ray, and then I can go to the pharmacy, and I can stop and eat, and I can do all these things in just one space and only pay my co-pays, or like you could really see how much I'm getting discounted by being a Kaiser member is very different here. I have Anthem, Blue Shield, Blue Cross Blue Shield, PPO, and I do have a primary care physician that has a private practice, but there's some aspects of like paying out of pocket a lot for my lab work. Like, I'm a diabetic. I have to get blood work done every few months at minimum, and anything that there's something wrong, they want to take my blood. So that can definitely add up. Whereas if I was to go to Kaiser, lab work ordered by my doctor would either be included in my membership, or I would pay a very small copay, and that's not like that out here. In turn, I've also learned that the break regulations and rules are very different here. Like, they've explained it at the job that I'm at right now, is that they have to give you a lunch break for being on a full-time shift, but it doesn't matter necessarily when. In California, a lot of companies I work for is you take your lunch by your 5th hour. If you pass your 5th hour, you're in a meal break violation, and that's a big cost to the company, and it's not good for you. In some places, like if you go past your 5th hour, you have to be cut or leave by your 6th hour because you've worked a straight, unless you sign a waiver. So out here, it's, yeah, you get a lunch. We just don't have to give it to you in the middle of your shift or before the 5th hour. You could literally go up to the last minute of your shift, have to clock out for lunch, stay on the property for that 30 plus minutes, whatever your lunch break is, unpaid, and then clock back in to leave. Or the breaks will work the same way. Like, you don't have to go like within the first few hours of your shift. They can give you your break whenever it benefits, if it goes past a certain amount of time. So that's kind of a sticky situation. It's kind of lame, and it's hard for people like myself that need to be regulated on like eating something small every couple of hours, make sure my blood sugar is balanced, multiple reasons. But it's just something, it was a hard pill to swallow, and I haven't experienced it yet, but I'm hoping I don't. So other than that, I mean, of course, with any place that has its pros and cons, I just am super attached to home in the Bay Area. So it's been a harder transition for me than it was for Michael. Michael came out here with his job, was able to transfer his job. So he came out here kind of like hit the ground running in the sense of like he had something going for him already. Whereas my goal was to come out here, apply for jobs, and nail something within the first 2 weeks. And it didn't go that way. And so it's just been kind of like a stressful acclimation for me. Whereas for him, it's been pretty smooth. So, I guess that's about it for now about our move to Las Vegas. There's definitely reviews coming of places, experiences, and things that we've done. Another thing that kind of hinders us from being able to do these kinds of things more often is the fact that like we don't have the same schedule, like the same days off to be able to go out and do things together to be able to experience it and then give you guys the review. And then we also sometimes work very late shifts. Like he doesn't even get off till after 10 at night. And so there's not much going on during the week during that time. And then because I have to be up earlier than him for now, we can't really do too much too late. That might be him now. But once my schedule changes in about a week and a half, we'll have the same days off for like a month. So hopefully we can catch up, including a Disneyland review for holiday. We're going to Disneyland with some friends that are more like family, so we're excited for that. Other than that, we will try to get more content to you guys, and we just thank you guys for tuning in, being supportive, watching, as we try to grow this into something that's not just like, hey, let's see if we can get thousands of subscribers and get a Google partnership and get paid. It's really about the experience of traveling and sharing things with you guys that we're excited about or passionate about. So it's just a lot, but we're going to try. And we just appreciate you being here. So from us to you, have a great day. God bless, and just be happy.